Alchemy of Souls was originally supposed to be 20 episodes. That's pretty long for your average K-drama, but quite typical for Hong Miran and Hong Jung-yoon, the writers of this drama. So it was particularly surprising when the drama was about halfway through its airing period and the production team came out with the announcement that it had been renewed for a second season, but only for 10 episodes. The reason we got for this was that the writers and the director had more story to tell but couldn't fit it into the 20 episode run. Now, Alchemy of Souls is not exactly live shot. There is a lot of beautifully rendered CGI, which usually means a pretty long post-production period. That means the majority of the first season was shot and ready to be released before the first episode ever aired. The Hong sisters also write pretty complex plots with lots of moving parts, which doesn't really allow filming a drama on the fly. Just look at the cast list for season 1, and these are just the characters with speaking parts. What this means is that the decision to extend this story by 10 episodes was not done lightly. The drama just finished airing on 28th August, but the crew had started filming for season 2 by end of July, even though it doesn't actually start airing till December. They even pushed back the release of the final 2 episodes of season 1 by a whole week so they could polish up the production, which I read to mean that they had made considerable changes to the last few episodes of season 1 to make sure that the storyline that unfolds in season 2 extends seamlessly from season 1. Now, here on out, I only have speculations for you. I believe that the way season 1 ended was always in line with how the writers had meant this story to go, except in the original version, this point where Jin-moo exposes Naksu in Mudeok's body and causes her to kill the man she loves and begin to petrify probably happens around episode 16 to 18. Most likely 18 because the Hong sisters really like to accelerate the drama in the last few episodes. And I suspect that after that, the remaining episodes were supposed to tell the story that we are now going to be watching in season 2. So what was this remaining story? One of the major beats would, of course, be Naksu finding her way back to her own body, while ideally Jin Bo-yeon, the real Mudeok, finally gets to reunite with her mother. The other important storyline is Jung Uk realizing his destiny as the child born under the King's Star, who now also possesses the Ice Stone, which kind of seems to be making him unkillable. And then there is the tricky matter of establishing new chemistry between Go Yoon-jung's Naksu and Jung Uk, if the audience is to feel any investment in the fate of this couple for the rest of the story. Be kind of awkward if they finally give us a happy ending and we are all like, not what was advertised, take it back to the kitchen. And part of me genuinely suspects that this is the real reason they asked for a second season. They clearly cast Jung So-min so she could do the heavy lifting of establishing a character who is funny yet deadly, who can do cunning, heartless, and adorable absolutely with ease. We were supposed to get attached to this Naksu, but I think they underestimated exactly how attached we would get. They also may not have anticipated exactly how explosive the chemistry between Lee Jae-wook and Jung So-min would be on screen. It's to the point where Go Yoon-jung has been given the impossible task of recreating Jung So-min's Naksu in season 2 instead of establishing her own version of the deadly assassin heroine. Now, previously, with the 20 episode run, Go Yoon-jung would have had to do the same thing with limited screen time in the last couple of episodes. But now she's getting 10 episodes to do it. And you can kind of see where the creators may see this as an opportunity to take their time and show the great Naksu in full glory, back in her body and with all her powers reinstated. But it's also way more time for fans of Alchemy of Souls to microanalyze Go Yoon-jung's performance and potentially feel disappointed. Which is not to say that the actor Go Yoon-jung is not up to the task. I've seen her in Sweet Home and she's a good performer, but the stakes themselves are unfairly stacked against her. But let's say she manages to triumph. What would that look like? Her Naksu would have to have enough similarities with the Naksu that we are used to so that there is instant recognition from the audience or at least no dissonance. We would also need Go Yoon-jung's chemistry with Wook to be at par with Jung So-min's. If it's less, we'll feel it. And that will definitely lessen the viewership and ratings of season 2, not to mention our enjoyment. Now, what about the rest of the plot? Did we really need 10 more episodes to tell this story? I think yes. The story of Alchemy of Souls is a very clear 3-act structure, and season 1 is very neatly divided into 10 episode acts. Episodes 1 to 10 could be an entire story about how Jung Uk becomes a mage, or it could be the first act of how our everyday assassin Naksu is called to action when she becomes Mudeok to escape death and meets her future pupil. Then inciting incident happens, she becomes Jung Uk's teacher, and they train together. And meanwhile, she's also battling with her major trust issues. The first act ends with Jung Uk incites Songrim and Naksu left somewhat rudderless. Episodes 11 to 20 is Act 2, where our united heroes meet more and more obstacles and their relationship deepens and blossoms into romance. Meanwhile, the larger thread of the soul-shifting magic, Hwanansul, is established in scale. This act ends with our heroes in crisis. Mudeok has run wild. She has stabbed the man she loves, Jung Uk, under Jinmu's control. She's also killed the real Mudeok's father while in her body. And she's totally ruined Park Dang-woo and Jin Cho-young's wedding. Meanwhile, Soi is on the run after putting a magic bloodworm into Soyul's heart, and our mean but self-aware prince no longer has friends he can trust around him. Also, Jinmu has overturned the hand and he thinks he's gotten away clean. Things are looking grim for our good guys. And now for Act 3, episodes 21 to 30, and since it's a new season, episode 1 to 10. They are going to spend the first episode-ish re-establishing characters and dynamics quickly. So imagine a very condensed version of Act 1 and Act 2. And then we jump into Act 3, where Jung Uk has come back from the dead. He rose from a burning pyre, you guys. This is the kind of stuff that starts new religions, or witch hunts. Now, even though he's like a son to Park Jin and Kim Do-ju, he did knowingly hide the assassin Naksu for months, and especially after Mudeok's rampage during the wedding, this is not going to leave him in the best position with the mages of Songrim or the royal family. And then there is the matter of him rising from the dead, possessing the Ice Stone, and being born under the King's Star. He's going to be seen as a huge threat by the royal family, especially the prince who's now a bit paranoid. And he's likely to be hunted down while he's searching for Mudeok. Soyul is also likely to try and help Jung Uk find Naksu before anybody else does. Park Dang-woo, though, is likely to be split from his friends on this because he would want to help his wife avenge her father. Now, we know that after Mudeok starts to petrify, she jumps into the enchanted lake where she knows the corpses of previous soul shifters have been thrown. But before she can sink to the bottom, she's hauled up to the surface by 2 women. We don't know who they are, and I don't think they work for Jinmu. He seemed pretty convinced that Naksu would be dying soon, and he didn't have any intentions of saving her. Now recall that Hyoyeom, the mage in charge of Songrim's infirmary, had told the queen that if she begins to petrify, he had figured out a way to stall or maybe even reverse the process without the soul shifter having to feed on anyone. I highly suspect that Mudeok will be rescued and kept under status for a while using a similar method. Comatose, but probably not petrifying anymore. Eventually, something will happen. Naksu's soul is going to be shifted out of this body and into her own body, which should be ashes. And Mudeok will either die or wake up to reunite with her own mother as the real Jin Bo-yeon. Either way, the actor Jung So-min is not going to have a huge presence in season 2, but I do not think that jump into the lake was the last we see of her. Listen, it's true that Jung So-min has not been part of the filming of season 2, but that could just be because the arc of Jin Bo-yeon has already been shot to completion. And there was just no extra filming necessary for that plot. I genuinely don't think the production team is out to eradicate all hints of Jung So-min from season 2. It would be pretty impossible with the Jin Bo-yeon storyline still incomplete. Also, let's not forget that there are some interesting questions in her story that the show hasn't resolved yet. Like at the beginning, why did Mudeok push away the girl Naksu had chosen and take her place? Did she sense the soul ejector and impulsively did a good deed, or did she have a plan? She was also coming back to the capital after staying away in the countryside all of these years, so clearly something had pulled her back. Jin Bo-yeon was also very zen about Naksu using her body for months, and she was conscious inside the body. She always seemed to know exactly what was happening. So there is a possibility that Jin Bo-yeon, Mudeok, never really lost her memory after she fell into the lake as a child. She just didn't want to come back to her mother and admit that she had let out the ice stone. It was a self-imposed exile, penance. And let's not forget that we've been told a lot about Jin Bo-yeon's divine powers and its connection with the ice stone. So it's possible that Jin Bo-yeon would be required in the final stages to help Naksu and Jung Uk once and for all destroy the ice stone. So yeah, I don't think we have seen the last of Jung So-min. I just think we'll be seeing a lot less of her in season 2. And what we do see of her would be the actor portraying a different person. The real Mudeok, Jin Bo-yeon. And finally, like I said, season 2 will have to create a convincing continuation of the romance between Naksu and Jung Uk. So yes, there is a lot to look forward to, and clearly I have a lot of expectations. I don't think Alchemy of Souls has suffered from the curse of the second half, at least in the first season. And my desperate hope is that it doesn't emerge in the last 10 episodes or season 2. I'm going to stay positive. And that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.